The Malaysian state of Kelantan on the east coast of the peninsula has a charm of its own. Many Malaysians believe that this is still the cradle of traditional Malay culture. At first glance, life here has remained the same for generations, and many practice a lifestyle that is sincere to the land and its history. In this land of contrasts, old and new straddle the day-to-day reality of tradition and religion. In the daily market at Kota Baru, women are still the dominant force as they have been for generations. The matriarchy is still apparent in everyday dealings in society. Some things have not changed as dramatically as others, but life here has been transformed somewhat. The Kelantanese have always been more distinct from the other Malays due to their profound belief in the spirit world. Similar to many indigenous traditions, these beliefs are founded in the search for harmony between the self and the environment. This is the basis of many traditional art forms such as Main Pateri, a traditional form of psychotherapy. Today, even with the decline of these arts, many have chosen not to abandon old practices and influences. In fact, they have merely bridged them with an open-mindedness and practicality of a multi-religious mindset. We begin our journey to find Pak Yusuf, a Malay shaman or bomoh, who is one of the last few practitioners of the ancient art of Main Pateri. He is Muslim, not necessarily devout, but strong in his faith and immensely spiritual. Pak Yusuf is 63 years old. He is known more as a monsieur in his village, which is close to the beach of passionate love. As this name conjures images of another kind, it has been changed to Beach of the Light of the Moon. The meaning of Main Pateri is to weld, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, to bind together a person's body and soul to make it whole again. It is also known as Main Puteri, literally translated as play of the princess, which does not allude to the true nature of this form. The Malay shaman or bomoh can be found in most parts of Malaysia, but spirit-raising ceremonies like Main Pateri are becoming more and more rare. In Kelantan, the Malay shaman was still a thriving force in the 70s and the 80s, but a fading interest and skepticism among locals are several factors contributing to its decline. The origins of Main Pateri are still obscure and inconclusive. Nonetheless, indigenous beliefs based on animism, the respect of spirits that dwell in objects animate and inanimate, was integrated into Kelantanese culture long before the arrival of Islam. The Main Pateri shaman undertakes his training as a child and studies under a teacher or tok guru for many years. Pak Yusuf has been studying the art of Main Pateri for almost 30 years.
When we want to become a bomo, traditional healer, we need to work at it diligently. We need to study. I never went to school. I can't read, but I learnt 2 or 3 bits a night. We learned the fundamental basics from our teacher. In our language, we call it martial arts. He's the best, that old man.
I was also like that. I was only this high. I couldn't reach the drum I was beating.
He started when he was a child.
That's how it was. Yes, I started when I was a child, not circumcised yet.
The notion of the inner winds or angin can be as complex or as simple as one chooses. It is often associated with notions of sickness and the means of treating it. In Western concepts, the inner winds could be described as the notions of temperament. The essence of angin is balance, which then creates a harmonious being who is capable of living, working and functioning in his environment. It is understood that most people are governed by different angins and that the insufficient expression of angin can lead to troubled lives. Persons who express their angin become successful and respected for their strong and gifted characters. If they don't do so, their angin becomes trapped inside them, where it accumulates after time and produces sakit berangin or angin-related illnesses. The Main Pateri provides patients with insight by locating specific problems within the patient's own dysfunctional personality. Its metaphors are archetypes of the self, and its agents, the inner winds.
There are many sorts of inner winds, angin. It can reach 12 sorts, 12 languages. 1,000 feel, 1,000 attitudes, 1,000 behaviors and actions. Inner wind ailments are very difficult to heal. Sometimes a patient gets warded. The doctor examines you, but can't identify a problem. When I work a charm on the patient, the illness stops.
Preparations for a performance usually start 2 or 3 days before. The panggung is built, usually out of bamboo and coconut leaves. The ritual is usually a village affair, and hundreds of curious villagers will come out in force to see Pak Yusuf perform. A piece of cloth, langit or sky cloth, is suspended over the ritual area. A feast or kanduri is prepared, and the women cook and prepare the food for the musicians and participants the day of the ritual. The performance is due to start after Ishak, or the last Muslim prayer. After the evening meal, the performance will begin. Children are the first to come in early anticipation of the night ahead. They are an integral part of all village events and are exposed to such rituals from infancy. It is the hope that they will, in time, carry on the legacy of their forefathers. The Tok Minduk begins his invocation. Chants uttered during the opening ritual are often referred to phrases from the Quran. This is an effective form of protection from spirits and ghosts that are invited to the seance. He also recounts the ancient story of creation, the creation of the universe and the creation of life.
Origins, if we don't know, it's not possible. Because we invoke, for instance, what we call the Dewa Muda wind. It comes to us. We arouse the angin of the Dewa Muda. The words descend in the name of God who is merciful, creates life essence. The womb creates life. A meteorite falls into the sea. Rays shine from the sea. Then a hand is formed. For 40 days, angels rest beneath a pandan plant. A young fetus, the father's name is Haji Muda, the mother's name is Cik Siti Putih. For 40 days, it rests on the father's brain. Siralah, the child's name. It rests on the father's chest. His name is Nirva. It rests within the father's womb. His name is Alam Gembira. For 40 days, it rests on the father's groin. As long as it becomes soil, oasis becomes fire, semen becomes water, penetration creates life.
All of creation is connected. The Kelantanese belief system of cosmology has to be understood and accepted first for a patient to be receptive. This is the beginning of the healing process. The three-stringed rebab or spike fiddle is sacred to this ceremony. This performance has 3 tokteris as it is a special occasion. The functions of all 3 are to diagnose and heal the patient of her malady. As the tempo changes, the tokteri rises and prepares himself for the trance. He begins to roll his head to forget or lupa to the increasing tempo of the music. As the movements become more and more agitated, spirit possession takes place.
What we refer to as our angin in the winds, it has many branches. Our angin, some go there, some come here, it can happen. This angin has 12 forms and 12 languages.
After the ghosts or hantu appear, they are questioned by the Tok Mindok and their involvement in the patient's problems. These ghosts are malefic and can take possession of their hosts. During a Main Pateri ceremony, the appearance of these spirits is seen and felt by the tokteri, who then speaks to the ghosts and commands them to leave the patient. The more powerful a shaman, the more ghosts are revealed and dealt with.
This angin is difficult, but I say it's true. Pateri is for healing people from time immemorial.
The first tokteri was only able to invoke the spirits. He is young and not as experienced as the others. The second tokteri has at this stage diagnosed the patient's malady. This recognition, combined with the rising tempo, compels her. She rises and dances without inhibition. This tokteri, whose name is Awang Loh, has succeeded in addressing the nature of her illness. This mode of trance healing is based on the theory of a personal nature. The patient has to be able to confront the problem within herself and accept it before healing can take place. Patients are taken through an archetypal journey where the imbalance of the introvert or extrovert is treated through the story of the Dewa Pencil or Dewa Muda. The introvert or Dewa Pencil is an archetype of a person who is dissatisfied with their lives and homes. In contrast, the Dewa Muda archetype or extrovert is often one who strives for constant attention. In this instance, the patient was suffering from the angin of the introvert. The ritual allows the patient to release repressed emotions. This may seem daunting at first, but the trance-like state it induces has an amazing ability for one to simply let go. One Western anthropologist described her experience after being the patient in a Main Pateri ceremony. At the height of her trance, the wind blowing inside her chest had the force of a hurricane. The patient was moved by the angin of the silat, the Malay art of self-defense, and she performs the stylized aggressive movements of the form. She is encouraged to act out repressed feelings, anger, frustration, until her angin is once again refreshed. Ultimately, it is the expertise of the tokteri who has to monitor his trance as well as the trance of the patient he's trying to heal.
Aware. How can I be totally unaware? As a Pateri shaman, if we are incapable of healing, then we have to be cautious. We want to heal someone who is deranged, don't we? If we are both deranged, we'll both be warded. Yes, her angin is strong enough. But I didn't lose control. If I were to lose it, her angin would have been more overpowering. I know her angin, whether her angin can be dealt by me, so she wasn't afraid.
Aware, but it's merely a feeling of awareness. That feeling of awareness is not total awareness. The feeling is indescribable because it's personal. After that, when I was told to sit up, looking at the crowd, there was a bit of embarrassment. If I rise and dance, now I feel relieved. I enjoy going to the doctor as well. Whenever I need help, I seek the doctor first. If I don't get better, I resort to this.
Main Pateri has attracted Western anthropologists for more than 100 years, as the ceremony has been proven effective in the treatment of psychoneurosis and depression.
In Kelantan, there aren't many Pateri shamans. No, in this area, in this village, the most would amount to 3. The rest have passed away. Nobody is learning. Before, it was very strong, but now, those who've undergone religious education, they say it's forbidden, blasphemous.
He questions the issue of it being banned by the ruling state government of Kelantan. He maintains that if an individual truly recognizes the spiritual essence of Main Pateri, then it transcends all barriers. There are no more lies, only the truth.
Whatever they choose to say, let it be. Whatever they claim is haram, blasphemy. Indeed, they say it, but they don't understand. Out of callousness, they just want to claim it's not possible. What we practice is for healing patients, Pateri. That's why we can't simply perform it abroad, as if it's merely a form of martial arts. It's specifically for healing the sick, traditional healing, here in Kelantan. In the final analysis, the doctors surrender. We just watch what we say. When we tell people something is sinful and blasphemous, we commit blasphemy ourselves. Study. Tell them they have to study properly. Tell them they have to relearn so it reaches the 4 levels of Sufism: Sharia, law; Tariqat, devotion; Hakikat, reality; Ma'arifat, gnosis. If you know yourself really well, then you will know God. Because how do we know ourselves? That's difficult. Angin is what we say the angin of God's compassion, love. Doesn't matter what creature, animal, it doesn't matter what. We can't create a reason. Because God is all compassionate towards all creatures. Because we want to know one thing. Because whoever knows it well enough can even stroke a ferocious tiger. Because the tiger would know we're the same, it and us. Its life is because of angin. Our lives are because of angin.
The experience of the performance only reiterates the conflict between the contrast of everyday reality. The question of religion versus faith hangs over us as it does the Kelantanese. Was it right? If it was for God, was it wrong? Meanwhile, life goes on. The daily market is thronged with tourists who come and go, often not realizing the spectre of the whole Kelantanese experience and the essence of this dying culture. A changing worldview in the Kelantanese context has added conflict, and individuals often have to negotiate their way through the dictates of Islam and indigenous beliefs. The day-to-day life struggle to achieve balance between old and new has led to a transformation of the culture and an attitude that things will hopefully continue as they are. On the one hand, people will continue to go to the mosque, but will also seek out traditional cures and medicines as they have for generations. This fragile balance could perhaps be likened to the dance of the inner winds and the merging of two belief systems in the hope that both will continue to survive. One out of necessity and one out of faith. Pak Yusuf has made his choice. The decision to become a shaman has given him the balance and equilibrium to lead a happy life. Now, he is a coconut trader and is quite content in the day-to-day routine of harvesting coconuts. This is how he has come to understand his life and his art. He has encouraged his children to pursue their own interests, their own livelihoods, even to the effect that none will carry on his legacy. Perhaps by Pak Yusuf's definition, one is allowed to make choices as long as they are true to the nature of each person. As each has his own angin, so he must follow that angin.
Even now, I still want to learn more from him. It's not over. If he dies, it ends. Presently, I'm his only student, just me remaining at the moment.